Myah, I don't know if it's Myah Sundermeyer, is joining us, and she is the wonderful host of a program that's called Hello World with Myah. Is she here with us?
Yes, I am.
Is it Myah or Miyah?
It's Myah. Although I don't mind being called Myah or Miyah. I mean, I'm going to turn my video on so you can see.
Do it.
Hi, everyone.
There you are. Hello. How are you?
Live long and prosper. Hello, world.
Oh, no kidding. No kidding. Even though I'm a Trekkie.
Yeah,
as opposed to,
I've heard you talk about that with Temple before.
There you go. We're so thrilled to have you. Tell us a little bit about the show that you do, Hello World with Myah.
So I've been up and running since 2013. I started out on YouTube, worked my way into WordPress, and I recently just started the podcast. And the reason why I started on the podcast was I was interviewed recently for another podcast. You've heard of Converge Autism Radio with Stephanie Holmes? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was in there. I was talking about was a transition at my and the struggles that I had to face going from transition from high school into the college setting. And so I decided to start my own show, being that I have my blogs on YouTube and WordPress. And I decided to just start up doing little snippets of myself once in a while. And I wanted them to be educational and practical application for people. And then the outbreak happened, and I had a big dream to interview people. And I knew some folks that are public speakers like myself. And I mean, I'm not a keynote speaker, but I've been talking now for a number of years. And I talk about—
Well, maybe not yet, but maybe that's coming.
Yeah. But I've had a few guests on the show. I had Temple Grandin on the show last weekend. Yeah. I've been affiliated with her for 5 years now, 6 years. Gave her my business card after I got hired at Georgia State. She's an amazing woman, and she is a very good guest. I would not mind having her back on the show. So.
Yeah, she's pretty incredible. And so I always like to, you're a wonderful autism advocate, but I like for people to be able to identify themselves and not have me identify. So, how do you choose to identify yourself?
Well, I don't want to mask anymore. It's kind of hard when you try to identify as autistic, because you have people out there that look at you like you're broken and need to be fixed, and they see past the disability, and they see past they see past Myah, and they see that there's somebody that needs to be fixed. So that's not always easy. And then if I keep my mouth shut, I'm weird, I'm crazy. What's her problem? And so what I like to do is follow in Temple's footsteps, is don't get too label locked, because I mean, I'm a professional. I work at a university and I'm a college student. So I want to be recognized as a professional. But when it comes to self-advocacy, I feel that there's a time and a place for that. I feel that there are times where I need to use autism advocate. Like I worked in a job years ago where I was treated poorly, and it was a work program, and the environment was very toxic. And I've talked about this in my podcast. I mean, have you had a chance to hear the show?
Yes, you do a great job.
Which one was your favorite?
You're going to put me on the spot, and I don't remember names of things, but you're doing a wonderful job, and I was really impressed.
Did you listen to the one I did with Temple?
I listened to part of the one with Temple. I was trying to catch like little snippets to get a feel for, what your format is. And I just thought that I was very impressed.
Yeah. I was nervous trying to get this thing together, because that's Temple Grandin. I mean, even just trying to talk to her on the phone makes me nervous, but Temple's
Me too.
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah, but Temple's attitude is, oh, whatever. I'm just a human being.
No, and I'm so glad that you had an opportunity. And now, have you also met her in person?
Oh, on a multitude of times. Yes. I told you earlier, I actually I'm affiliated with her across the board. I mean, first of all, I have a lot of networks in common with her. That's a big one. And then I write blogs for her publishing company. And so I see her every 6 months at the conferences and write blogs about it. And so she was here in Atlanta recently, and I got up a couple of times to use the bathroom. And being Temple, she sees me all the time. That woman's a mentor, and she knows I'm on the spectrum. And she goes, "You really don't need to be texting." And what I was really doing was I was tweeting about what she was talking about when I sat down the second time. I said, "No, you've gotten up twice. What are you doing?" And then she goes, "Well, don't worry, you'll thank me later." And then she said that reminded her of the time that somebody slammed down a can of deodorant. And I said, "Temple, you always do." And she looked at me and she just wanted to talk about something else. And, "You want to sit in the back?" I mean, she wasn't mad. And then I told her what I was doing. And she goes, "Well, why didn't you say so in the first place?" And I said, "Well, I was waiting for you to get done talking, Temple."
Oh, yeah. Well, and so you mentioned that you are a student. And please tell me if I'm asking things that you don't want to ask. What are you studying?
Psychology.
And what do you hope to do with that?
Well, right now I'm employed at the Center for Leadership and Disability, and it was my dream to work at a university when I was in that toxic work environment. And at the moment, I'm more of a clerk. I'm doing a little bit of everything. Like, I am a committee member of a statewide autism conference. I mean, right now I'm doing some clerical work behind the scenes. But when it comes to psychology, I want to get involved in research. And I'm also good at math. I'm going for a master in statistics. And I want to go into research, but if that doesn't work, I'd like to use the statistics in other areas. Like, I mentioned it on Facebook the other day that I wanted to become RBT certified.
Yeah.
And being that I'm a psych major and I'm almost done with it, and then I'd like to take that knowledge and work on the statistics, based on the data, because somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
So those are my big dreams. And then I love math. So.
Wow. Well, listen, I've got people that I'd love to introduce you to who are all part of a research team looking at those ABA things and looking at the data. So at some point, remind me and I'll introduce you to them. But I'm curious, and we didn't talk about this beforehand, but so often folks that are adults on the spectrum, parents will ask me, how come I don't see more adults on the spectrum who like ABA? And there are many who don't like ABA. But if you're studying and thinking about becoming an RBT, how do you feel about ABA as an adult, as a self-advocate?
Well, the problem with these young adults that don't like ABA, I think it's because they're so young. And there's a big movement right now. I mean, I don't want to say anything bad about ASAN. I think there's some really good people in that group, like Morenike Giwa Anaiwu and Lydia Brown. I mean, they're both good people. And Scott Robertson. But the reason why I decided to look into ABA is because I kept reading all these stories all the time. And they were talking about ABA is evil, ABA is bad. And they were also bashing Autism Speaks. Well, you know what? I work in a center and an organization and with people that support those services. So as a professional, why not get involved in one way or another? And I don't have to be like everybody else.
And, it's very interesting because everybody has a different opinion. And one of the things that we talk about here on the show, even if we weren't a show about autism, but especially because we're a show about autism, I believe that everybody gets a right to have their opinion.
Yeah.
Have your opinion. I like discourse. I like to have conversations with people, and I don't necessarily need to agree with everybody, but I want for the discourse to be about things that are true and not rumors. And so the thing, often I will say, if somebody's on the show and they say to me, I just don't agree with ABA, I think it's terrible. And I say to them, but I'm a mom of a kid that did ABA and it helped him, and it's not all the things that you say. Would you do me a favor? Would you come with me to a center to see good quality ABA happening? And the thing that's sad to me is that I haven't had anybody that has been against ABA take me up on that offer. But it sounds like you've done the research and found out about what this is and what it isn't.
Yeah. What I want to do is I want to look into it. I mean, it's not a big dream of mine, but if push comes to shove, I think it would be worthwhile for me to look into, because, there's a saying, there's nothing about us without us, Shannon.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't have great services without autistics that have been through it yourself. Now, I'm just one autistic, and I'm just one woman on the spectrum. And so I'm not the only one that can go in there and do this. Now,
Yeah.
there are countless other people like Temple, and there's Anita Lesko. And by the way, I heard her last week. She's awesome. I followed her. I met her too. I met her when she went up to do her talk and promote her book, The Stories I Tell My Friends. I remember when she and Temple were on together a couple of years ago, and I knew I had to meet this woman. I just kept looking at her because I kept seeing her picture on the Future Horizon stuff, and the lady with the cowboy hat. And I thought, who is this lady? And then I found out she's on the spectrum.
Yeah, and she's amazing. I mean, I love Anita, and Anita's got me on this vegan diet now. I'm like day 2 of the vegan diet. So I hope I show up here healthier and skinnier and happier, because that's what.
I'm trying to lose a little weight myself.
Oh no, you look fabulous.
No, I got belly fat.
Oh no. But yes, I love that we both love Temple and Anita. And when they came out with the book, Stories I Tell Myself, I thought, oh my gosh, this is so fun, because it's like when you're reading it, it's like sitting there at a table with the 2 of them.
I know, I was drinking coffee with them.
Yeah, totally fabulous. Which is a wonderful thing. Well, now I want to sit and have coffee with the 2 of them with you there.
Yeah, well, so many people compare me to Temple. I don't know why. Other people compare me to Greta. I don't know why. Greta Thunberg.
Oh, I love her too. But I gotta add one to your list. You need to meet Anne-Laure Davin.
Who's Anne-Laure Davin?
So she's written a book, and she is, and of course I can't think what the name of her book is, but it's a really good book. And she tells stories that are unique from her experience of being on the spectrum and not finding out that it wasn't diagnosed until after she had her children. But now she's been on a path where she studies Zen meditation. So she's
Zen meditation is great. I mean, I'm a Christian. I'm actually Jew for Jesus, Messianic, but meditation does calm me down. And I love positive affirmations.
There you go. Well, I think you and Anne-Laure would get along great. But so, we're running out of time here, but I want to ask you, as one woman with a story to tell, what do you want the world to know? What do you think people don't know about your experience, or about anyone's experience, and like, what should we be doing differently, maybe?
Well, first of all, no 2 stories are exactly alike, or no 2 snowflakes are exactly alike. And I think a lot of people miss the mark on this. And I think what people need to be doing differently, there's a lot you can do differently. I don't think you can nail down one. I think what you need to do is, I don't know, nervous being on here.
You're doing great. Nobody would know you're nervous. You're doing great.
Yeah, well, I got my stress ball.
Yes. But I play with my pen. We all have something, right? But you're doing great.
But I don't know. I don't really know. But, well, one thing that people should know is that just because they have autism doesn't mean that we're stupid or not all there. Doesn't mean that we're crazy. And, a thing that baffles me every time is, you have Temple Grandin up there. You have all these people at the top. And all these special education teachers and all these programs are missing the mark, and they're not being supportive. And they're coming up with all these silly ideas that we have limited interests. And they all think that we like Superman or we like Star Trek. And that's all we can do is talk about movies or cats. And they talk to us like kids, or other times they act like we're 10-year-olds. Like, the last synagogue I went to for a while, I mean, the rabbi there was obnoxious, and he'd come up to me, "How you doing, buddy?" and just give me the knuckle bump. And,
oh dear.
And I would tell him, "Hey, I'm not a child, don't do that." And he tried to lie. And it was, well, I do this to everybody. You're overreacting. And so they basically treat me like a kid. Not everybody, but it's just, when I try to tell them that I'm not interested in that, I get the "that's cool" or "oh, wow" response. So changing people's attitudes is the biggest thing.
I love it. Now, where can people go to find your podcast and your blog?
So you can go to Podbean, my podcast, you go to Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and iTunes. And then you can also find an application on my Podbean page. I'm currently calling for proposals. And I say this in every single episode. You don't necessarily have to be on the spectrum to be a guest on the show. You just have to have a topic of expertise. But I definitely don't want any attitudes regarding anti-vaxxers because my whole purpose is to educate people and raise autism awareness and acceptance together. And then my blog, you can find on WordPress. And I'm going to see if I can get a hold of the people at Future Horizons. I want to write a blog about Eustacia Cutler. I heard her a couple of Fridays, is it that not this past Friday, but the Friday before.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's such a different lady from Temple. I mean,
she's like, amazing.
It's like Temple's a tomboy. You know, she's a quirky woman on the spectrum who believes in getting things done. And then you have her mom. Her mom is a lady. Like, I don't know. Is her mom from England?
No, but she has that very, that northern New England kind of sensibility about her that she does come off a little bit British. I know exactly what you mean, but she's, I mean, when you think about, Temple is a senior citizen and that's her mom. Yeah. So I don't want to give away Eustacia's age, but Eustacia, man, I hope when I'm that age, I'm still here and I'm that with it mentally. She's amazing.
I would love to meet Mrs. Cutler. I mean, I've spent all this time networking with Temple and, getting my books signed with her. I don't know how many books I have with Temple, and I bought A Thorn in My Pocket and I need to read it, but
it's a great book. Great book. Well, we are unfortunately out of time, but I have never gotten to meet Eustacia in person, only interviewed her in this format. So I'm going to hope that both of us, when this isolation is over, that we get to meet Eustacia, which would be super fun. Yeah. But thank you so much for reaching out to us. And thank you so much for being here. And your show is wonderful. And we want to encourage people to go and check it out. And so the name of the show is Hello World with Myah.
Yes.
Myah.
Hello World with Myah. And my main objective is to take middle ground. So thank you so much.
Love it. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here. Yeah. All right. You take care. Hey, thanks for watching Autism Live. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.